Charlie basically told me that I need to create an online fursona to catfish and then infiltrate my industry. Kind of, but not really. I'll explain more about that. But today's day 4. A lot of shit happened, and let's sort of start with my YouTube analytics. Um, so my YouTube is fucking popping. I even have like one of my older channels that only got like 67 subs, but this brand new channel is doing really fucking well thanks to the fucking the IA school community. Y'all are fucking popping off. And yeah, a lot of this stuff is doing really well. I'm probably gonna keep this series as like Retard Explains because I just think it's really fucking funny. And I mean, it's really good. I'm getting very supportive comments. I fuck with really everybody, right? I feel honored about this. You know, people finding me because this dude said I feel honored to see this obscure man on my FYP and to be one of the first people to. Pretty fucking funny. um, so the next thing is the amount of like outreach stuff because out of the sort of 4 quadrant matrix that Charlie sort of gave is you obviously need to book fucking sales appointments, right? And then I was already on the trajectory basically as you can see. I've been trying to do cold calls, been trying to fucking do these things, and then I've been meaning to get fucking appointments, and then I've just been struggling honestly. So for today, 225 dials, 136 pickups, 49 conversations. Usually Mondays, people act like they're fucking Garfield and they hate Mondays, and then they like don't want to talk. Um, and then the reason why I've had so many dials and like so many conversations, well, it's only like 1,000 conversations, but I initially was taking almost 8 hours to do my cold call blocks, right? I condensed it down to 4 today because I implemented a power dialer and sort of the local dialing presence. All that is that whoever you're calling, it matches the area code, right, of who you're calling, then it matches it with one of your numbers. To where then there's a higher chance of a pickup rate because if you get kind of like a random call and it's a fucking 18888, you're probably not gonna fucking pick it up because you're gonna be like, who the fuck is this? But if you're a zero a 801 and then someone calling you and they have an 801, a way higher pickup rate. And I mean, I've also been dealing with a shit ton of gatekeepers, which is just fucking shit. But regardless, I did 30 calls also because one thing on what I learned is that I have to sort of do outreach for interviews to sort of really understand my niche, and I think that's probably why I have almost 1,041 conversations and 0 booked appointments. So I need to really understand my niche, know where the fuck they're coming from. But I made 30 calls for the interviews. I'm just sort of adding that on top of my actual outreach volume because I really don't want to. I'm already on a path and I already set sort of my KPIs and criteria. I can honestly just throw it on top instead of cutting everything because if I lower my KPIs for my volume, I'm not going to be able to hit my goals, and there's really no point in fucking doing that. And asking for interviews, posing as like, hey, I'm trying to start my own practice, my own thing, is a bit more. It's a lot easier to do than trying to solicit and ask for a booked appointment. So made 30, got some decent conversations. Didn't really get. I got to 2 people, but they didn't actually want to book. I'll probably try to hit them up later in the week. So yeah, that's really what happened with that. And then the reason why I'm focusing on the sort of interview part is Charlie basically suggested that you need to fully understand your niche. The best way to do that is just to go ask them, which is pretty fucking obvious and pretty damn solid. And then for the sort of last action items for yesterday, or for the last video, I didn't make it to my sort of VSL stuff. I did get all of the leads to call today because that's what I did, and didn't make it to fucking handling all of my VSL stuff because first it wasn't really top priority because it's not in that sort of 4 quadrant matrix, and I didn't have time, dude. Like I literally spent almost fucking 6 hours, or I don't know how many fucking hours, just all day straight up. Ended at 7 p.m. and then went to bed like 10 minutes later. I was so fucking exhausted, and and I didn't make it. And I'll get that done sometime today because it's only 3 p.m. so it's not bad. But the sort of new learnings from the course of what I got is from module 1.5, crazy in depth. that's sort of why I started talking about, you know, catfishing my industry and infiltrating. The premise is that you need to learn all of the main issues and pain points and try to create a very detailed avatar, right? Because in order for you to become successful, you have to be like some sort of expert in where you're sort of at within your own industry. You need to understand the person you're trying to sell. Because let's say that you saw an ad for fucking, you know, like weightlifting or for like a shirt, right? Let's say that you're a male, you're 18, and then there's like an ad for a white t-shirt and then another separate white t-shirt. One of them is basically saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to make you feel fucking, you know, glamorous and sexy, 50% off the discount." That isn't going to speak to you because that doesn't really irk you as an 18-year-old fucking man. You're not going to be like, "Oh yeah, I want to look fucking glamorous," unless you're gay, like then no. But for the majority of the people, right? That doesn't really resonate. But if you have this is gonna make you the coolest dude ever. You're gonna be able to be the, you know, alpha male Andrew Tate type shit, right? Like you will become him. Literally, the other one is if you buy this shit, you'll be him, right? If you get that shit, you're gonna be like, oh fuck, and then you're probably gonna buy it, right? So that's the difference between sort of effective advertising and stuff. And then since that principle also comes into, if you're trying to sell them, you also need to understand their problems for them to even, you know, for you to even create any sort of curiosity and interest. So when it comes to the avatar building, literally, it's super in depth, crazy fucking shit, right? So here, I still have to do it because I still have to go through all of this and then also go through the entire strategy. I'll get to that next, but quick explainer for this is that you have a 3-word description title of the avatar, right? Then you go into a super in-depth from the moment they started their life, their childhood, their you know, early teen years, adulthood, and then where they're at. Like, there are literally all of these data points of their trauma, obstacles and problems, age, doubts, goals and fears, insecurities, vices, addictions, what they think about, beliefs, identity. All of these things you have to write down and understand in order to fully grasp and fully understand the picture and sell to these people. Because obviously this isn't something to resonate with 100% of your market. It's only gonna, you only need it to generalize the top 80%, because if you have an industry of 30,000 people, you put them all in a room and then you talk to all of them, there's going to be some patterns and things that come up when you start asking certain questions about what problems they're having, right? There's going to be some sort of relatability. That's why they're in said niche, said industry, because they all have something in common, right? And then the sort of emergent strategy where I got that becoming a fucking furry is is basically what you're supposed to do is create a digital version of that said avatar, right? You want to see the algorithm they see. You want to see the content they see, the ads, search like how they do, just everything online. Make sure that all of the big, you know, social media platforms toss you into the same group as them, because at least my algorithm, right? I'm seeing fucking shit like Charlie Morgan. I watch fucking, you know, Minecraft videos, Myron, fucking Fresh and Fit, like a bunch of shit, right? The stuff that I see on the make money online probably isn't going to be what they're going to see in my niche and industry, right? It's not going to be the same because they have like a sort of social profile of all of the ads I clicked on, all of the sort of, you know, content I've been on. All of the algorithms are just tailored and they're really, really advanced to your own thing. So you need to sort of reverse engineer that to be like, okay, how can I be like them? My sort of avatar. How can I see the shit of what they do? And then one thing of what I did, right? At least in my niche, this is probably the gold nugget, right? Creating a school community. Because at least for mine, right? There are a bunch of, like, I already made it, and there are a bunch of like Facebook groups, but they're all fucking just full of spam, you know? Like, they don't have a solid private community because all of them, like, at least the sort of vibe I've seen of the space is that anyone else on who is either trying to help or external to the sort of thing that external to the industry that aren't specifically them, everyone's just trying to siphon money out of them, right? So every single Facebook group I've been in, anything related or close to, they're all dog shit. They're full of spam, full of people trying to pitch stuff. And then there's even other people pitching the services to other owners, but like they need to put that to their customers. So it's just super moderated like shit. Everyone's just using it as a funnel to basically buy. And then the one thing I'm gonna do is leave this thing created so that I can learn. Because this school community is gonna have everyone who I need to learn from. It's gonna have my avatar. And the one thing I'm not gonna fucking do is pitch to them. This isn't a sales funnel. This is gonna be an actual like group that they can have, right? And probably later on, if I switch niches or whatever, I can basically be like, hey, I can have someone else take this over, you know, or just fucking have it in perpetuity. Regardless, is that building this is going to allow me to 100% understand real time what sort of stuff they're dealing with, all the things of what they like to talk about, a bunch of their terminology, which is like another big thing. And that's probably the one point I see in my niche that nobody else has. I literally have the handle. Dude, no one claimed the handle of med spa. Nobody in the entire school fucking thing, dude. I'm the first guy. That's kind of unheard of and unseen. So so basically, while me creating that, I'm gonna give them an actual proper area to, you know, not just get pitched to. You know, because I run into that same issue of like I trying to join like an agency owner's thing, but all it is a fucking funnel, you know, that has zero quality. At least, you know, Charlie's has like a full blown free fucking course of 80 hours of shit. So at least his funnel is valuable, but everybody else's is just dog shit. So So yeah, that's sort of the first part to sort of hit, and then the next one is actually creating it says like the immersive internet, right? What I did was create a fake fucking profile that is like their Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, X. Fuck, I didn't do Telegram, but basically create someone that I interact exactly like they do, right? I try to, you know, go on Google, search like they do whatever, hop on ads, go on other things, try to get, you know, tracked by other people's, you know, Google Pixels or sort of organic tracking, so that then it builds my digital profile as my avatar. And then another part of what I also have to do is to find the top selling books for the niche, the top 3 podcasts, top 3 YouTubers, top 3 bloggers, watch top 5 interviews, subscribe to like 3 to 5 email lists, and then that's basically how I'm gonna do my own research to understand the sort of where the space is at right now overall, and then to sort of do things just on my own time, right? Then the immersive outreach. This is what I did today, is that I pick a platform on how I'm gonna get to them. Then I either call, email, DM them, ask for an interview, and that's really it. There's a script in the notepad, but that's probably the biggest part that I got from 1.5 is the amount of effort and detail you have to go into to properly understand. Like you are truly dissecting this person. Like it sounds crazy, but it's like the example that Charlie gave is that imagine that you're like National Geographic or some sort of, you know, bird researcher. And you're out in the wild, you see a new species of bird that no one's ever seen before. How do you think that they go about on like trying to document and understand that bird? They come from an objective standpoint, and the only thing of what they're doing is that they're just seeing on what they do, right? What does their habitat look like? How do they fly? How do they mate? How do they, you know, do their mating calls? How are they grouped? Are they sort of, you know, on their own, or do they go in packs? What color are their feathers? You know, what sort of other mannerisms and behaviors? Are they docile? Are they aggressive? Are they just sort of, you know, like what does that bird do? What does that bird look like? How do they live? What do they eat? And based off of that, that's how they sort of come up with a report to show this new species, because kind of the way that everyone else approaches it is they just sort of copy paste to what everyone else says, right? Like if they see, let's say like a blue jay, if you had a researcher and someone on who, you know, tries to find new species of birds or like to describe them, and all they said is that it's a bird with 2 wings that flies and is blue. No one gives a fuck about that. That's probably the worst description. And you, based off of that and what they told you, their depth of knowledge of that said bird, when it's their entire job, is probably dog shit, right? Like, how the fuck are you gonna trust that? But if they tell you, sort of the length of the feathers, the actual hue of it, how they shed, how they mate, where they sort of sleep, how much they weigh, what their heartbeat is, what, you know, like basically how much they need to actually eat to survive, you know, like how they actually, you know, fight, what are their natural predators, where's the main region of where they stay at, right? All of this shit. If someone gave you a very in-depth and detailed answer when describing a fucking blue jay to you, you could 100% just believe and trust their explanation because of the amount of detail, which reflects effort, right? And one thing of what I've seen that at least I'm missing it, and I know that all of my competition is just that level of detail, that level of effort and detail that you have to go into. Because if you don't do this, the only way that you're going to be able to even remotely get close is by trial and error, but it just takes way too long, bro. And at least when you're starting, probably the biggest advantage of what you can have is to understand your niche in absolute crazy detail as fast as you can, you know? So the next one was 1.6, right? It's the offer structure stuff. I kind of already have an offer structure, and then all it really is that no one's really going to buy off of your main course or your main service because it doesn't sound enticing enough, right? Because you have to come from the perspective, if you're trying to gain interest and get people to buy your shit, there needs to be a what's in it for me. That's sort of how I describe it. Because if I come to you, I'm selling donuts. I'm like, hey, I'm a baker. I make these donuts, and I can give it to you for $3 each. I mean, that's kind of dog shit, right? Or like, I'm trying to clean your car, right? And be like, hey, I do car, I own a car cleaning service and a detailing service. I can clean your car, or like I can, you know, do services for you to keep your car clean. That's not very enticing. That's like not an offer. I'm just telling you what I do and say, hey, give me money. You know, it's like really fucking dog shit. Or say, hey, business owner, I'm also a business owner. I do these services. Buy them from me. That's sort of how people see it, right? So you need to sort of add like a little bit of bait to the hook, and then make it compelling. And then the sort of equation that he gave is that there's the niche plus outcome plus time frame plus risk reversal plus methodology times the actual spin. So to sort of define these things, the niche is who you help, the outcome are the results promised, and then you have the time frame, the amount of time it's going to take to get said result, and the sort of risk reversal part is terms like saying, hey, this is going to be guaranteed, paid on results, paid per performance, or you don't pay at all, or your money back, some shit like that. Then you have the methodology, the sort of high level steps you need to take to deliver those said results on what you promised. Then you have the sort of spin, the doctoring and manipulation of the terminology of the offer, sort of components to be persuasive. All that means is your wording, you change it to make it more persuasive. That's it. That's sort of just how you like sort of structure and then create an offer and word it properly. And the biggest thing that I learned is just I just followed this sort of structure, right? Like there's an actual structure to it. And the best thing for the offer is that you just need to make it super simple to understand. If you're trying to optimize it, less is more, right? So the less you say, the easier you make it to understand, the more likely people are going to be able to buy, right? And that's just sort of part of the front end thing, because you need to have some sort of introduction. You selling your fucking, you know, I do Facebook advertising for X niche. No one gives a fuck. That worked fucking back in 2015, bro. We're not there. Almost every other niche isn't there. So you have to sort of understand where your niche is at, the sophistication and the actual like awareness level on where they're at, right? So those were sort of my big key takeaways for this. And then the next tasks are just get more leads for tomorrow, finish the scripts or the script for the VSL. I want to add in a storyboard, you know, sort of areas on where I you know, adjust my tone to obviously add in emphasis and also emphasis notes on where I should really focus on, you know, saying shit. And then after I'm going to finish 1.1.7 and 1.8, then get to module 2, which is week 2, completely finish that, and then just stay on this roll, right? Because I really want to become the #1 dude in the school community, and then just to fucking grind super hard to get there. Because there are already guys booking interviews, but like I don't want to just book interviews. I want to make proper fucking money, you know. And then I want to be at the very top because there's that fucking carrot, fucking Charlie dangling of being like, you know, if you post this, there might be something, you know, if I like the vlogs, I don't know, that's probably a really shitty accent, but regardless, that's sort of where I'm at, and it's like, that'd be fucking great, because then next I'll get Easy Grow, and then actually get into the fucking mastermind, which would be absolutely fucking crazy. So, gonna continue this, update y'all tomorrow, see ya.